Okie dokie, this video is what I think about gray aliens. The Zeta Reticula from the Zeta star system, 36 light years from here. Everybody knows what the gray aliens are. They're the guys with the really big black eyes and the big heads. Now the story is that, at least in Zeta Reticula, and I would say even in Earth as well, these are the kind of people who are us, except in a parallel universe, and I think we can all understand parallel universes from that TV show with Jerry O'Kyle from the 90s, and I think it was called Sliders, where he invents a way to slide into a parallel reality where, and every time he goes into a new reality, like something else happened. Like in one episode, we never got our independence from England, and so we're still, part of the king. And then in another episode, there was like a nuclear war. In another episode, we hit an ice age and this kind of stuff. And it turns out that it's actually like that. There are an infinite number of parallel realities that do exist on another. And if you study string theory, the scientists in string theory would actually agree with you and not be able to explain it. It just all begins with the creation of the universe and the Big Bang. There's lots of different vibrations, different shapes to the strings, which make up our basic vibration of our atomic structure. And so it doesn't, relate to each other. So there's all these different parallel universes. However, you can travel between parallel universes if you have the technology, and not just in your timeline, but various other timelines. So there's parallel universes not only in your timeline, but 100 years before and past, and that's basically what time travel is. You're not traveling back in time in your reality, but in a parallel universe and another reality with a different timeline. So if somebody says I come from your future, they do, but it's just a parallel universe. But it can be you and your soul, and all of your souls together would be the oversoul. So anyways, that's just a rundown. Now, what I think about gray aliens is they are like us, only they're in a parallel universe, parallel reality, where we had a very, very unfortunate, and they came before us, right? We had a very, very unfortunate, they had an unfortunate circumstance where they killed the planet, just like we're killing our planet, only they didn't have anybody to help them not kill the planet like we do. We have them, and we have other aliens coming around to help us to avoid killing the planet. So I know we're not going to do that, but they didn't. They ended up killing the planet, living underground for 1,000,000 years. They lost the ability to procreate, and now they're screwed. And then they came into this world, abducted us. When we set off the atomic bomb, it allowed them to move in from their parallel universe into ours, abduct us, and get our DNA to make a hybrid race to be able to continue their race, because they were dying, because their copies of copies were dying out. As everybody knows, a copy of a copy gets worse and worse. So now evil reptile aliens. I've done a video about David Icke and a video about evil reptile aliens, and this is basically where I'm going to explain evil reptile aliens better than I have in those two other videos. And it goes like this. According to Bashar, and it makes sense to me, so I'm going to reiterate it. Evil reptile aliens are grays. They're a variation of gray, and you've probably seen photos of them if you look around. There's lots of different grays. There's the cute looking grays that almost look like they're smiling when they look at you, with the big black eyes. But then you have the other kind of grays, which kind of look like E.T. They have bigger heads. They have big black eyes, and Bashar says that they actually evolved from the dinosaurs. So instead of the dinosaurs dying out, they kept going, and then they evolved into us. So they're like reptile people, and they live in their world, and maybe they are evil, or they're not, as they just have. Well, according to what we think they are, maybe they're because mammals, nurture their young, and reptiles tend to eat their young. So maybe it was like intelligent people like that, but they just have a more colder, kind of clinical, scientific, less emotional based life form. So anyway, they're living on their Earth, and they're doing what they're doing. And just like all these other good gray aliens who come in here and fiddle with us and help us and abduct us, they're doing the same thing. These other reptile aliens are doing the same thing. They figured out a way to come into our reality, our timeline. And they, maybe they're abducting us, maybe they're doing whatever with us, but so as far as their power over us, and if they're evil, I wouldn't say that they're evil, but that's about what I know about those particular gray aliens, reptile aliens. Now, as far as the future of the after they abducted us, they're making a hybrid race, which will then move off and have their own planet somewhere, or actually another dimension that we can't see. And I think what did he call them? I can't remember. But basically the idea is that there's lots of different kinds of gray aliens. There's one gray alien that made friends with a guy called Dan Burish, who is a biologist who worked at Area 51, who was brought there to try to figure out what makes this gray alien tick. I don't know how they found this gray alien. Perhaps he was one of the survivor from Roswell, or maybe another crash, but they had this gray alien, and he was in there, and he talked to Dan Burish and explained to him the concept of parallel universes and other timelines, where we have a probable timeline in this world where a various number of possible things could happen. And so, we don't really know what's going to happen in our future, but we know what might happen based on what has happened before in similar timelines. So this is basically what this alien was talking about him, and he's saying in these various timelines and worlds that are very similar to ours, there was a nuclear war, and 2/3 of the world died, and maybe there were pestilences and whatever. But in those timelines, they didn't have aliens watching their backs. We have aliens watching our backs. And I do feel in my heart of hearts that my soul in this world, have been through this world many times before, and this is the best time. This is the time where it's actually going to work, and we're going to have a successful transition into the next stage without having the unfortunate circumstances of the gray aliens where everybody dies and you have to go live underground. So anyways, but there is one facet of these gray aliens, or one, not facet, but a sect group that live in another planet, Zeta Reticula. So maybe this is kind of like a sister planet to the Earth, or maybe an Earth that was colonized by us or whatever. But they live there, and they destroyed their planet, lived underground. They have to feed themselves by soaking in a bath of vitamin water because they can't eat anymore, and they're very telepathic, very intelligent, but they lost their emotions, so that's why they hurt people's feelings when they stick probes in their orifices and stuff like this. But this guy was explaining all this to Dan Burish, and Dan Burish ended up helping him escape to his planet by pushing him through a wormhole that was inside of Area 51. How it got there, I don't know. Maybe you can make little wormholes. Theoretically, you can, according to Michio Kaku, as a theoretical physicist, but you need lots of amount of energy. But if you know how to harness the same kind of energy, the technology to harness that energy, maybe you can actually make that wormhole. But Dan Burish also said that sometimes these little gray aliens can put on suits, human suits, to look like us, so they can walk around in our world, and their suits are actually dead humans, zombies, and they put them on. But they get confused when they put on the suits, because I guess they have some kind of transformation. I know that sounds crazy. I'm just regurgitating what I heard. And I guess they can be dangerous or whatever. Ooh, I'm out of time. So that's about what I know about gray aliens.